Hey, it's MK, and today I am celebrating IvyCoelCreations' 500 subscriber mile mark. I am absolutely proud of her. Congratulations, Holly. And don't forget to go check her out. So today I am combining this with Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches, because this sketch is actually by Holly herself. So what an honor for her to hit 500 subscribers and be featured on the sketch for today. So I'm just sharing with you guys a little bit of the embellishments that I picked out, a couple Minte tree rings. The first one was from the Woodland collection. The second one, all these wood rounds that I cut out. I couldn't tell you. And then the butterflies are from Cocoa Vanilla. I do know that I told you guys where the rounds came from that I fussy cut out back in, I want to say January, when I was doing the Baby Got Scraps, and I had a scrap of this left and cut them all out and made a bunch of embellishments. So I think I told you guys then where they came from. This little sheet right here is from 49 and Market, and it's from the Wander collection back in 2020. And I do find the packaging for that, so later. It's just for right now, I'm just sharing with you guys what the acetate pieces look like. I have 4 photos of my husband standing in the park. That is just before you go and take a walk to Mono Lake. And then from Paper Rose, I have this Mountain Trek paper. Now, this was my favorite paper, you guys, back last year, I want to say, and I ended up buying 3 packs of the paper. I really did enjoy it. I loved it. And so this go around with my 3rd set of papers, I'm enjoying them a little bit more. Like I'm not so quick to use them and get them all used up. So I've got the tree rounds, and then I have this gorgeous paper right here that is also from Paper Rose, but this one is called Forest Trip, and it is a little bit on the blue side. So most of the collection has these gorgeous blues and a little bit of purples and browns mixed into them. And then again from Minte, this is another woodland piece. Again, it's got the tree rounds and the magnolias, and whatnot, but I'm going to use the B side so that way, and this is paper number 3, by the way, so that way I have a nice good green-brown border around my photos. So that's all this is going to be used for, is my photo mats. And here is the packaging for my layered acetate pieces, I guess is what they're called, layered embellishment sets. But these are awesome, and I wish that 49 and Market would bring them back because I absolutely love them. They are just phenomenal to add. They're the perfect colors for any collection, and I don't remember the Wander paper. All I remember finding are the embellishments for it. So the Wander must have just been one of those collection packs where you got 6 pieces of paper and then there was a front and a back type of deal before 49 and Market came out with these larger collections. All right, so I'm also going to be putting all of this on 2 pages of white cardstock. These are cardstocks that I got from a paper pad from Sandy, and I don't really remember the name. All right, I'm going to go and fussy cut out these tree rings. These tree rings are going to represent the bubbles that Holly has in her sketch. You know, the bright pink bubbles that you knew weren't going to be pink on my layout. So I went and fussy cut them out, and then I did a fast fussy cut, which means I didn't go get too detailed because I was going to scuff up the edges. I'm doing a semi-outdoor layout. It's mostly just about the greenery. I mean, look, okay, I live in a desert. I know I've said that before, but look at the greenery in these photos, especially when I get them all laid out and set up. There's just so much green, the green grass, the green trees. I can't even see the tree trunks. They blend in and they're brown, you know, but it's just gorgeous. And so I really wanted those pictures to shine on my layout. So I went with a very muted background, which are going to be these tree rings that are a bluey section, and then this wood grain, which is kind of a gray brown with blue in them. So it's got a small tint of blue, small splattering of blue. It just brings that blue into the layout. And I don't know, the tree rings are kind of grayish blue, but they're more on the blue side than they are the gray side. So I wanted my background to be extremely muted compared to my photos and my embellishments. I wanted them to pop off the page like they're just springing out at you, and spring meaning green, right? I just really wanted that. All right, so off camera, cut down my photos, I think 1/4 of an inch. So they are like 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then I'm going to cut down my photo mats to 4 by 6. That way I get a nice green border around. And I love this color of green because it's not overpowering the green that's in the photos, but it's a very good match. Like I can still see the border when I go and put my photos down on the mats, but it's not so overempowering that it says, I'm a photo mat, look at me, and not your photos, right? I love it when I can find a photo mat that complements the photo, but also doesn't outshine the photo. Does that make sense? So anyways, these are just pictures of, I caught my husband enjoying the scenery, and I was taking pictures of everybody else. And all of a sudden I look over and I see him, and he's just enjoying the crap out of looking at all this greenery. Like I said, we live in a desert. This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. And it's just on the other side of the border of where we live, basically. Well, not technically. We live on the totally opposite side of the state, but you get what I mean. This Nevada is just on the other side of some mountains that we can see. And the green is not the same. It is more like a sage green. It is more like a dull green. And this is a bright, beautiful Easter egg hunt green. And so I just really loved these photos. Now, I do understand that 2 photos are identical except landscape and horizontal. And then the other 2 photos are far away and close up. I don't care. I'm going to use them all. I really don't care that I have the same picture of my husband sitting next to this downed tree, and you can see all its roots and mushrooms. And I mean, just a gorgeous view behind him. And then the same exact picture on the opposite page, but it's going in a different direction and at a different angle. I just don't care. I want all this green on my layout. It is so green, even the tree trunks look green. Like maybe it's moss. I don't know, but it's just beautiful. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is decide how I want my tree trunks. And because I only have, or tree rings, I apologize. Because I don't have full tree rings to work with, I have to strategically place them on my layout. And at first I put my largest one over on the right in the upper corner because that's where Holly has hers. And then I put my medium one down in the left. Well, again, that's where Holly had hers. And so that's where I was going to put them. But it didn't look good. Plus, when I go to place my larger mat, my central piece, my 2 pieces of gray wood grain, when I go to put those down, it would have covered up my tree rings. Like they would have disappeared entirely. So I decided, well, if I put my large one over here where I have smaller photos and they don't go so far over on the page, then I will be able to showcase that tree ring a little bit more, even though I'm still covering up a large portion of it. So that is what I decided to do, was flip-flop the 2 larger pieces instead of doing what Holly did and having the large one on the right. I'm also only doing 4 photos instead of 7 like what Holly did because I just didn't have 2 by 2 photos, I think is what I'm looking at, or 3 by 3 photos. I just didn't, especially that many. That is more for like a planned project where you print specific photos for those, in my opinion. It is, and it is only my opinion. It is definitely not set in stone that is what you have to do. But for the way that I scrapbook, it is so much easier for me to just go and print a whole bunch of 4x6s and have them all ready to go. And then when I decide that, no, I really want these all on one layout and print it that way, then I will reprint those photos in a smaller size so I can do a layout such as this, right? But again, most of the time I choose to make my 4x6s work or trim them down. Like I could definitely have trimmed down the one photo where you could barely see my husband in it and it is just a field of green. I totally could have trimmed that down to where it just focused on my husband, but I was focusing on the field of green, not the fact that my husband's standing in the field. Mine was, oh my stars, look at this greenery. It is gorgeous. And it's just right there. I don't know, you guys. I don't know how to explain it. I really don't, but it's just beautiful. It really is. It was such a serene area that I think we spent about an hour here because it was just nice. On the other side of the trees was a little park for the kids to play in. Of course, not my size kids, but if they were littler, they would have enjoyed it more, but they still went and played. And then there was a picnic table on this side where we were. In fact, really close to the downed tree, there was a picnic table where, the older folks sat down and just enjoyed the sounds and the sights and the smells and all the beautifulness, right? All right, so now I am back to figuring out how I want my tree rings to go because I've got my papers cut down. I'm really happy with my wood grain and how it looks, but how do I want my tree rings to shine? How do I want them to really be seen and not, I don't want to say wasted on my layout, but not so hidden that you couldn't tell that they were really cool tree rings, right? Because in all honesty and in fairness, if I were to have just cut a little bit here and a little bit there and tried to save some pieces, those pieces wouldn't have been useful anywhere else. So I definitely needed to make sure that these all got placed on a layout where they were like, I don't know, like where they shined the most, basically. I had to flip my paper, my base paper, because I ended up with a fingerprint somehow on the one side. And I thought, well, not a big deal. I could either flip the paper over or flip it around and hide it behind all of the other papers, right? So I just decided to flip it and then put it down. So this is basically what my layout's going to look like. Well, then when I realized all my embellishments were on the brown side, how was this going to look? Like I got where I wanted to go. I understood that I really wanted my background muted because look at my photos. They super pop off this page. Like, wow, in your face, they are green, right? And then I realized, well, wait a minute. What were my plans with all the rest of these tree rings? Like, what's going on here? I don't know. So let's play with it. So I'm going to play with it a little bit. And this is where I start to slow down because I'm actually working the gears in my brain to understand what it was I was thinking of. Like, where on earth really was I going when I put this layout paper kit together, page kit together? Because I don't know. I seriously have no clue where what was I thinking when I pulled this kit out and realized that most of my embellishments were brown. Wait till I get to the pink butterflies. I'm just saying, if I'm struggling with the brown, wait till I get to the pink butterflies. So anyways, I like how it looks because the tree rings that I just added to the page with the magnolias and all the pretty little fern leaves, they go really well. They go well with the background, the brown gray background. They go beautifully with the photos. But then this is the title I wanted was Get Wild. Well, my husband's not getting wild. My kids aren't in the picture at all. It's just a tree ring that says Get Wild. And so I'm like, I really want to use this, but the saying on it that says something about where the flies are. What? I have no idea what that says. It doesn't go with my layout. So I know I'm going to be bringing in some tiny word stickers, but for right now, I'm embracing the tree rings, the brown tree rings. And the more that I add, the more I love it because now the background is like fading away. It's like in the back of one of those. Have you ever seen one of those forest photos where you look and you can see the trees in the distance and they're kind of grayed out. They're kind of foggy and not real distinct. That's what my background is starting to look like to me. And everything coming forward is starting to have color and tone and brightness and all that stuff, just like my photos. And I was like, oh man, this is super cool. but all I have are pink butterflies. Like, I don't remember them being this pink when I first pulled them out. I thought that they were more on the orangey side than pink side. And so now I'm looking at them and I'm going, can I put a pink butterfly on this manly layout? It's not very manly. I'm talking more about the fields. I don't know. So I went off camera for a hot minute and went and looked at all the rest of my elements that I had just handy over on the left in my bin. And no, I didn't find anything. Plus, I'm digging these butterflies. Like, I'm really okay with these butterflies. They don't take away from anything. They add a small pop of color. I'm leaving them. I'm going to put these butterflies on this layout. I'm leaving it there. It's done. I did it. Ta-da! And then, of course, I am finding phrases from these Tim Holtz little books. I love having them handy because they've been actually getting used. Good for me. I have stopped putting them in a bin because when they go in a bin, then they get disappeared for a year and then they pop out. I use 2 or 3 more and then they go back in the bin for another year. I like having them on my desk. They're a pain. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like having them on my desk, but I use them because they're on my desk. So I think they're gonna stick around for the rest of the year and see where they go. But I know for me, unless tiny word stickers come in an embellishment pack, I won't be buying more tiny word stickers. Actually, I don't even know if they sell anymore. Did Tim Holtz come out with more tiny word stickers? I have no idea. But I did end up changing out what the sign says underneath the butterfly. I found one that matched beautifully. It was the same size. It says live gently, something. I don't know. Hopefully I can read it in the close-ups. I have no idea, you guys. But they were nice. And then, of course, down below it says, hello, my darling, right underneath where my husband's photo is, which is what I titled instead of Get Wild. I kind of ignored the Get Wild and just did hello, my darling, because I really like it. All the rest of the words on the layout were, calming and serene and, just explore your world type of stuff. Nothing to do with Get Wild. So I kind of ignored it. And moved on. Now, I definitely could have took one of those cameras and covered up the word Get Wild for sure. It would have looked really good on that butterfly. But in the end, it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't, that the Get Wild shows up. It just doesn't. But I do like that it's a tree ring as well and brings in a different color of tree ring, but doesn't take away from the layout, in all honesty. So anyways, that is my layout. I almost forgot to turn the camera back on when I was adding my 49 and Market embellishments, but I do love how they add that little bit of peach or pink to the layout with the tips on there. So there was one little saying and cluster that I had going on. Here are my others right around, and I basically tried to live gently upon this earth. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. But I tried to keep with where Holly kept her circles. I really did. But my circle down at the bottom was a little bit of an add-on because I didn't like how my tree ring was coming in from the layout when everything from Holly's is going out of the center of the layout. And so I really wanted to keep mine going out of the center as well. All right, you guys, so that is my layout for today. I have to say it is my favorite layout I did all month long. I love how it just pops off the page and everything else falls in the background like you're looking at one of those pictures with the forest and it just keeps going back and back and back. I love that. So Holly, thank you so much for such an awesome sketch. Congratulations on having 500 subscribers. Don't forget to check out the links down below. We have a playlist for all of us that are helping Holly celebrate her 500 subscriber milestone. And again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. And I will check you guys all later. Bye.